live now, that's it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, YouTube, sorry about the technical difficulties. I think we are live now. Welcome everyone. Let me start the presentation so we don't delay any longer. Let me start sharing my screen right away. I hope everyone had a great holiday. This is the first live Q&A for the year, so let me start sharing right now. Let me know when you can see my screen.
I can see it now, but it's yeah, like your desk.
I just noticed that. Okay, this is the one. Can you see it now?
Yes, I can see it now.
All right, welcome back to another CryptoVagabonds Q&A. This is the first presentation for the year. I hope everyone had a great holiday and everyone is doing well and healthy. Just remember, we need to make a disclaimer. Nothing that we produce in any platform is to be considered financial, tax, or legal advice. All our content is for informational, educational, and entertainment purpose only. So be aware that this crypto Q&A occurs every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You're always welcome to interact with us here on YouTube, Instagram, and X, and Clubhouse Tuesday to Friday. So let's get into the presentation of today. So what happened is I normally make I make predictions of what I think is going to happen for the following year. So in this presentation, I'm going to be giving you my predictions for 2025 and be visiting the predictions I have made last year and see which ones I got right and which ones I got wrong. So the roadmap is quite simple. A recap on the predictions of 2024, predictions for 2025. We're going to be talking about war conflicts, economics, and cryptocurrencies. So first, recap of what I thought and what we thought here at CryptoVagabonds would happen in 2024. Let's start with conflicts. So the Middle East tensions. Tensions I predicted would be intensifying in the Middle East, and that would cause some disruption on the oil supply and would drive global energy prices up. Also, a possible involvement of Egypt and Turkey, which could cause a division or a beginning of a division within NATO. So let's see if I got that right. So tensions in the Middle East did rise. There were new regional conflicts which altered the power dynamics. However, the oil supply remained stable without major disruptions. So 75% correct. You can see here by the price of the oil that there was not much disruption on the oil. However, there was an increase on energy prices, at least here in Europe, and I think also in the US. We also can see that Turkey starts to take side on the conflict. You can see here, Erdogan and Turkey undermines US and NATO security interests. A few headlines. Egypt and Turkey agree to reset relations. Turkey blocks NATO-Israel cooperation over Gaza. So a few division or a few, I'll say, division in terms of opinion decisions that undermines NATO. I believe, and here's my prediction for 2025, we will see further cracks on NATO going. Does it mean that NATO is going to collapse this year? No. But the cracks are there, and if they do not repair those cracks, there will be further division for NATO. Another conflict, China-Taiwan conflict. I remember this 2020, I think. Nancy Pelosi went to Taiwan, and I said, this is going to be a wrong move, and we're going to see further escalation and further tension between US and China. And you can see here, escalating tensions between China and Taiwan. That was my prediction. That would heighten geopolitical risks in the region, impacting global markets and alliances. That was a prediction. What happened in 2024, the outcome? There were tensions between China and Taiwan escalating in 2024. Military drills, sanctions, and supply chain disruptions is straining alliances and heightening geopolitical risks as we predicted. This was 100% correct. And you can see some headlines that backs that up. China starts to add sanctions for the US defense contractors over Taiwan arms sales. Taiwan reports Chinese combat patrol of the new year. So tensions are there, and I believe we will live to see a day in our lifetimes that Xi Jinping will make a move towards Taiwan. The West keeps doubling down, and I think the tensions will continue to increase. Another one, and this is the one that I find incredibly important to me. I remember saying this when the conflict began. It was not going to be a couple of months. It was not going to be a short conflict. Everyone thought it was going to be a short conflict. Last year, most people don't remember this, but they were saying, no more conflict. Ukraine is going to win. Russia is destroyed. Russia cannot do it. And here we are. I said very clearly that the end of this conflict would not be until the end of 2024 or 2025. And I was counting on the election of Donald Trump. So I predicted that the end would not be before the end of 2024 or in the year 2025. And that I also say that US and Western countries would stop providing financial military support to Ukraine. That was a prediction. And this was the one that received the most pushback when I was trying to make the prediction. But here we have it. The conflict continues with no resolution yet, and the Western support for Ukraine has significantly diminished. This was the one that everyone was betting and was wrong. And you can see the headlines here. Biden is rushing to aid Ukraine. Germany plans to halve the military aid for Ukraine. Hungary blocks 50 billion euros funding for Ukraine. Slovakia threatens to cut aid in Ukraine. And there are so many more headlines. There was a situation with grains. The thing is, Europe cannot afford. And here's the thing. It's not that I say that those countries are going to be against Ukraine. They don't like Zelensky. No. The thing is, Europe cannot afford to continue funding this war. And I doubt that the US can continue funding this war. It's just a black hole. No matter how much money you send, there is no victory plan. So that's what's my prediction. It's not based on people not liking Zelensky or disliking Ukraine. It's just that you can't fund the war forever. And another thing, all this help, all this financial help, they're not giving money to Ukraine. All of those are loans. Ukraine has to pay it back, which means they're going to lose authority and sovereignty over the country because they have a huge debt due to the war, not to mention the loss of territory. So here, one prediction. There was a conflict starting between Venezuela and Guyana. I thought the conflict would increase between Venezuela and Guyana, and the US would have to take a side. That was one prediction that I got completely wrong. Nothing happened. There were increasing tensions in South America, but not between Venezuela and Guyana, but between Venezuela and Argentina and a few other countries that are too far left, having come from Argentina. So this one, totally wrong. Economic predictions. Let's go to that. I have been saying the European energy crisis ever since this whole conflict started with Ukraine and Russia, and Europe stopped receiving energy commodity from Russia. I have been saying this. There'll be a rise of energy costs, and it would exacerbate the economical challenges within Europe. And we would be in a recession. Germany is on the second year on a recession. I mentioned that would hurt Germany particularly, and that's exactly what happened. The outcome, Germany's economy has faced significant challenges and continue to slow growth, with Europe experiencing economic strain. There's a few other things that happen here. There's another other things that contributes to this recession. Volkswagen is on collapse. The automobile industry within the US and Europe, they cannot compete with China. That's only going to further. Another reason for this is not just the conflict, is the fact that there is an European Union, there is the Central Bank of Europe, and the interests of countries are different. The needs of Germany are very different from the needs of France, just as an example. So this is something that happened in 2024 and will continue in 2025. You can see here, Germany's growth model is broken. Another prediction I made is that there will be a rise of nationalist parties across the world. We're going to get more into that, but here we have it. The AfD is growing in Germany. Whenever there is problems, you want someone strong that promises to solve your problems. Inflation. I talk about persistent inflation in the US, and that would make it difficult for the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, to lower the interest rates. And both household and business will be experiencing inflation within the US. That was the prediction, and that was the outcome. And this still is the outcome. Yes, the Federal Reserve did manage to cut interest rates, totally 1% reduction. Now, in my view, they're cutting too fast, too soon. Now, this to me, of course, send a signal to some control of inflation, yet many Americans and many Europeans still feel that prices are rising on everything that they go to buy in the supermarket on their daily lives. And we can see headlines here. Inflation fell 2.5% in September. Federal Reserve signaled end of inflation. And this is part of my prediction for 2025. Before June this year, before the end of the first semester, inflation is going to be back. So another prediction, China real estate crisis. China real estate crisis is likely to drag its economy into further stagnation and also would amplify the global economic uncertainty. That was a prediction, and that was exactly the outcome. The real estate crisis in China has deepened, and that promotes the government interventions in order to try to stabilize the property market. This is not over yet. We're still experiencing this, and we're going to continue to experience this to the entire 2025. And we see the headlines here. China home prices slump deepens to a new 9-year low. We also have companies going down. China real estate in crisis. The issue is China overinvests on the real estate, and that overinvestment is going to continue to bring consequences this year. Next year is not over yet. Another thing that I have been predicting for a long time, it was Japan's currency dilemma. Japan is on this dilemma for a very long time, 30 years, and it's still not broken. Eventually it's going to break. So prediction, Japan may face severe pressure to either raise interest rates significantly or risk destabilizing its currency. And that's exactly what happened. The Bank of Japan tried to correct this. We saw this on the headlines. In 2024, Japan was cautiously trying to increase their rates to stabilize the value of the yen, Japanese yen, and the carry trade. Now, that was not seen well by the Western countries, and they have to make a U-turn. We see here the 2024 interest rates hike, a significant moment for Japan. And this was of like 4 to 8 hours of the market being uncertain what they're going to do. They tried to increase the rates, and they had to make a U-turn because the West does not like this. If you want to find out more how difficult it is for Japan to do this and what a bomb this is, subscribe to the channel or join the academy, because we have a few classes explaining what is the situation in Japan and what are the possible consequences. So now, it wouldn't be a good year if we didn't talk about the presidential elections. A lot of people went to vote this past year. More than half of the population went to vote on the planet. Now, prediction was that Milei was going to win in Venezuela, and he did win. So, and of course, he managed to pull off some of the reforms, and he's again an anarcho-capitalist. Here we have the outcome. Javier Milei did get elected. He did the reforms. And of course, there's still a lot of challenges ahead, but he managed to pull off his plans and is going on the right path. So Javier Milei, reforms cut spending and ease inflation slightly. But of course, it's still a few challenges. You can see here the headlines. Argentina's monthly inflation dropped to 2.7%, the lowest level in 3 years. Inflation down, poverty up as Milei takes change sought to Argentina. Yes, the short-term consequences of proper economic measures are painful. And we see that here. Poverty is up. Now, Ukraine. We talk about the support for Ukraine. You can see here, Donald Trump won, and we already see Zelensky trying to talk to Vladimir Putin. So Donald Trump victory in the US presidential election could lead to a withdrawal of support to Ukraine, fundamentally altering the geopolitical landscape. I think this is a move in the right direction. And you can see here, Donald Trump won in 2024. presidential election create uncertainty around the U.S. support for Ukraine. As we already mentioned, the West is diminishing their support for Ukraine. So that's the right outcome. And you can see here, Trump is already in conversations with Vladimir Putin. Bad news, Vladimir Putin does not agree with the peace proposal of Trump. He does not want a document that says that Ukraine can look for NATO membership in 20 years. He wants a document that says permanently Ukraine will never be part of NATO. So those were the predictions that I made for 2024, which ones I got right and which ones I got wrong. Predictions for 2025. Let's talk about conflicts. The Russia-Ukraine war will de-escalate this year thanks to the Donald Trump victory. And Ukraine will lose. And here's the thing, Georgia tried this in 2008, 2009. I'm not having a crystal ball. I saw this happening before. 2008, 2009, Georgia tried to become part of NATO, and the same thing happened. They lost 20% of their territory. They lost a lot of lives, and guess what? Russia took their territory, and today, until a few months ago, they were in good terms with Russia. Now there's a few tensions there, and there's going to be further escalation on that one. Israel and Iran, there's going to be more escalation of the conflict. Israel is not going to listen to Trump or obey the US. We may see this year or next year a direct conflict between Israel and Iran. I do not want to be in a world where Iran has nuclear weapons. And the only way to prevent that is a direct conflict between Israel and Iran. And Israel knows that. So I think either this year or 2026, we're going to see this direct conflict. Now, other regions will continue to increase their tensions, and especially Iran and Georgia. There's going to be more tensions in Georgia. And because of the tensions in Georgia, the tensions in Ukraine has to go because Russia is not going to be able to keep the two fronts. Economics, the trade tariffs, they're horrible. Tariffs are not an effective solution, and they're likely to harm the global economy instead of helping it. This is the worst idea of Donald Trump. It's going to increase inflation. I doubt that he's going to be able to implement tariffs. And even if he does, he's going to have to make a U-turn very soon. Inflation is coming back in 2025, and tariffs is going to make the situation worse. I don't believe it's going to happen to the full extent that he's planning. Maybe a small percentage, but tariffs, very, very bad. If he manages to pull this off, we're going to have an economic disaster this year. Trade tariffs, inflation will return, as I say, and it will be a strong impact on the global economy. In Europe, so the Euro and the European Union will still manifest further cracks on the structure. If the tariffs come in, the European Union and the Euro are going to feel this really bad. So regardless of the tariffs, Europe is not in a good situation. The recession will continue. Inflation is going to be coming back. That's my prediction. Now, geopolitically speaking, in 2024, we had national elections, and they were held in more than 70 countries. Now, let's talk about the most notable ones. South Africa, left-wing ANC. India, left-wing BJP. United Kingdom, left-wing party winning. And by the way, Andrew Tate is trying to become the next prime minister of UK. We're going to be talking more about that in the future. Azerbaijan, conservative party. Salvador, conservative. Taiwan, a little bit more left. Venezuela, this is the election with a question mark. Who won? I don't know. Who is going to continue in power? Maduro. Mexico, in my view, left, the Morena. United States, more like right-wing Republicans. Russia and Iran, they just continue to be very conservative, and Iran is a religious force. This is not good news for the world. Ukraine, we would violate Ukrainian legislation in behalf of Putin. So guess what? We're supposed to have an election in Ukraine. Zelensky say no elections. He's going totally against the constitution and the laws of the country. And here's my view. Zelensky does not want the end of this war. We made a video about this, and the reason, in my view, that he does not want the end is because he's a president that knows how to be a star, how to control the country under war. He does not know, or even remembers, in my view, how to run a country in peace. So that's not good news for Zelensky. We're supposed to have an election last year. We didn't have it. He put martial law on the country. Guess what? Most dictatorships begin with their leader claiming martial law. This is exactly what Zelensky did. If you want to find out more about this, in our YouTube channel, there is a video specifically talking about Zelensky. Now, the rise of nationalism and communions. We're going to see more and more polarized world in 2025. In my view, in Europe, we're going to see the rise of nationalism because immigration went too far. Same thing for the US. Now, MAGA, AFD, PVV, US against everyone else. The rise of nationalism happened on the election. I predict that as well. And I'm going to say to you guys, will continue. That also means the rise of dictatorships and the influence of the BRICS nation will continue to emerge and make new alliances. Now, the more alliances they make, the better to an extent to the world, because there's not two countries in this alliance that are friends to one another. Now, since this is a crypto channel, let's talk about cryptocurrencies. Predictions are very positive for Bitcoin. In my view, and again, I don't like make price predictions, so take this with a lot of salt. I believe, conservatively, a very modest prediction, Bitcoin will reach 150K this year, if not 200K. Last year, I made a prediction it would not reach 100K in 2024. It just did around December, so I got it wrong. But this year, I dare to say we may see $150, $150,000 BTC, possibly 200,000. To me, these are very modest views. Let's see what happens between now and the end of the year. And the reason why I'm saying this is because countries are now using BTC. By the way, that's a prediction I have since 2016, that Bitcoin will be the reserve currency for nations and large corporations. Bitcoin is not for the people. It's for the sovereign. A lot of sovereign states will be using BTC. El Salvador, China, Russia, US, and if Andrew Tate wins as prime minister, the UK may have their reserves as well. So those significant events in the crypto space include, like I say, major exchanges of gold for BTC. The world is out. Mike Saylor had said that if the US wants to really win great leverage against their enemies, sell all their gold and buy BTC. Whichever country does this first is going to be leading the pack. It's going to be able to outperform all the other countries. Gold, in my view, we're going to continue to see the financial role of gold to diminish as Bitcoin continues to make into reserves of other countries. So, in my view, Bitcoin is set to solidify its role as a valuable reserve asset. And we're going to see continuous increasing adoption of growing institutional and governmental interest on BTC. Again, Bitcoin is not for the people. It will be for the governments and sovereign institutions and sovereign individuals. Another thing that we may see in 2025, every bull market comes with an altcoin season. I think we're going to be seeing an altcoin season, and there's going to be some altcoin that will outperform BTC. So, little recap. We talk about the predictions that I have made for the year 2024. I would say I got about 80% correct. To me, I can live with that. I also share with you guys my predictions for 2025, what's going to happen all this year in terms of war, conflicts, economics, and cryptocurrencies. And with this, I end the presentation, and I'm here to answer your questions. If you want to be in more control of your money and your assets, please consider joining the Academy. Link for that on the description below. And with this, I'll be answering questions now, if there's any. So, oh, we got Jackie here, man. Jackie, how are you, man? It's been a long time since I see you. Oh, he's there.
I wanted to mention that I'm gonna post here in Zoom the 2024 predictions in case anybody wants to take a look at that, and it's also in the description of the live. Just
The good thing about those descriptions, you can go back to them and see exactly what was said before, right? So
exactly, yeah. That's so I put it there in case anybody wants to check it.
I used to make those predictions on Clubhouse, and instead of calling prediction, I would just say Bull's curse mouth, because most things would happen, and then we start on YouTube, and now we're here on YouTube. Welcome, Jack.
Hey, how's it going?
Great to see you, man.
You too.
This week, I'm gonna be coming to see you, brother.
This week?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
don't think it works this week for me.
Does it
Are you
work
gonna
or
be
doesn't
around?
work? Yeah.
Probably not. I'd have
By
to
the
see.
weekend,
More open
you
in
tell me
February.
on the chat. You tell me on the chat when it's good for you. So. Marcos is there. Go ahead, Marcos.
Good to see you, Yak. As they say in Latin America, Yak. So good to see you. Hope everything is well. Have missed talking to you. But good to see you. So hopefully maybe sometime Boof will invite me to a call with you. We can put the conversation in bay, as they say in some languages. So modernize the conversation, but good to see you.
Yeah.
Boof, the predictions. Why do you feel Bitcoin will reach that level for this year, besides the kind of strategic reserve? What other factors do you feel would affect that to have Bitcoin at that price?
I think scarcity, right? Those things, and I think once country like the US start to put Bitcoin as their reserve, any argument of Bitcoin being a bubble, being a scam, gets thrown out of the window. Especially when we read the document that they are not allowed to sell BTC for the next 20 years. So that to me sends a direct message to the market that, listen, it is here and it's for a long term. The most powerful country on the planet is putting on their balance sheet, and they're putting for 20 years. It's not like, oh, we need to investigate, keep an eye on it, and see what's going to happen and have a strategic exit. No, they're putting in, and it's for a very long term. So I think the US leads the pack, is the most powerful country on the planet. And I think here in Europe and other places, we're gonna see a growing demand for BTC and cryptocurrencies now that the US is putting that on their balance sheet. So
some of the things that you've talked about, I'm seeing a lot of things from in Brazil. It's actually going against, and that Brazil is going against Bitcoin right now. And I see some countries that are going in the wrong direction. It's actually quite interesting now that many people are seeing the US as a competitor, whereas even 24 months ago, I would have said that the US is moving in the wrong direction, and now it seems to be moving in the right direction, and other nations are not moving in the right direction. We should definitely monitor which countries are moving in the right direction and which ones are not, and those that are neutral in this, because it's as people are planning out their geopolitical strategy, their worldwide strategy, they have to move things. I don't know if you saw this, but the central bank, as of 5 days ago, is now monitoring any PIX over $5,000 has to be declared, and that is not good. That is not good at all. And that they will use artificial intelligence for that. So that means even crypto to PIX is now being monitored. So would like to hear your views on even different nations that, that may be moving in the wrong direction from a crypto standpoint.
yeah, so to me, I think Bitcoin, since when I found BTC, I used that as as a measurement, right? Which countries do I want to be in and which countries I want to be far away from? I think we don't have a better measurement of how to predict totalitarian regimes than BTC. Any country that goes against BTC, I'm willing to bet it's going to become a totalitarian regime within our lifetimes. Because if your government really cares about private property, prosperity, and has respect for any human rights, they would embrace BTC and allow their population to embrace BTC. I read the document, the proposal for BTC as a reserve in the US, and I'm like really, really impressed by how they're putting emphasis on custody. I see Europe going on the wrong direction with the MiCA laws. I'm glad that the US took the lead and seems to be going in the right direction. And I think Europe is going to have to modify their approach. If they don't, they're going to be left behind, and I think there's going to be an exodus. I would suggest anyone who is in a country that has non-friendly regulations for BTC is start to have a plan B to leave your country, because that is a sign that your country is not on your side, is not on the side of individual rights, is not on the side of private property, and will come after you. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So
this might be old news for you and Marcus and other people that are more knowledgeable than I am, but I stumbled across yesterday that Switzerland is offering a petition, and if 100,000 people sign it, they are planning, what I understood is that they're planning on incorporating BTC in a very, very significant way into the economy. Do you know about this?
I do. Yeah, Switzerland has always been very friendly to our cryptocurrency and BTC. MetaMask was created in Switzerland. Ethereum Foundation is registered in Switzerland. Switzerland is one country that is not going totally in the wrong direction yet, especially if you go to the canton of Zug, with ZUG in Switzerland. I'll say Switzerland is this one oasis on Europe. They do have a greater respect for private property and no capital gain taxes in Switzerland. So I'm not surprised, Lali. And I think there's going to be more things positive coming from Switzerland, though.
So
Now, don't go
maybe
into the banking
dollars.
system.
I'm sorry,
Sorry?
go ahead.
Don't go
No,
into the
no.
banking system. That's all. The banking system are not as reliable anymore. Go ahead, Lali.
Yeah. Oh, just thinking maybe I should, or not I, but anybody might want to put dollars into francs. You know, I mean, preferably into Bitcoin, but if you need to have, well, anyway, that it just, if you're going to have some cash, maybe it's best in francs.
It's not a bad currency, though. That's not being it has been always a good currency to hold to.
Yeah.
Swiss franc. Yeah.
Yes. This is such an exciting time. May you live in exciting times, right?
Yeah. I think we're living the most exciting time. Jack, how is it to be back in Europe after being away, I think, for what, a couple of years?
Yeah, it's good. Kind of boring, but that's good. Life slowed down a little bit. We've gotten rid of the animals and whatnot. So right now we're just using a couple months to chill and relax, which is very needed. But it's been good meeting up with friends and seeing Europe not locked down has been pretty cool, and being able to meet with a bunch of people. Met up with a bunch of Bitcoin friends over the holidays who I haven't met yet. The German Bitcoin meetup scene is strong, like stronger than you see it in the US even, I think. They're all connected through, I don't know if you know Einundswansig. It's kind of like the of approval for a Bitcoin meetup, and it's just, you know that if you go there, you meet someone who's genuine on the same page as you, and yeah, it's been really cool to see, and they're just everywhere. You look at a map of the meetups in Germany, and it covers the map, covers the country. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they needed it. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
when the lockdown was in Europe, and I think that was the moment to say, okay, I need to go back. Yeah. Well, but good to see you again, and let me know on our conversation when can I come to give you a hug and meet you in person. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think.
and
Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say to Marcus, yeah, it's good hearing you and Lali and everyone. Like, it's been a minute. I tried getting back on Clubhouse, but my new privacy phone's not allowing me to, so I won't be back on there. But these Zoom
Is
meetings,
that the
yeah, I
Solana
forgot that we
phone?
do these.
Is
No,
that the
it's a great
Solana
phone.
phone? I was just joking. I
Is
just
there
had to.
really a Solana phone?
There is a Solana phone, yes.
Yeah.
Sure, it looks great.
I would recommend people should just stay away from the Solana phone, but yes, we joke about Solana phone. Like, seriously, like.
Why stay away
So
from Savannah phones?
I mean, we talk about security here at CryptoVagabonds, and we recommend have a delegated computer only for crypto and a phone only for cryptocurrencies. And I do not trust a cryptocurrency that launches their own phone. Like, it's not something that you want to see. It's like saying, it's like the Federal Reserve giving you a phone and say, use my phone. Like, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna use a Federal Reserve phone. I'm not gonna use a Solana phone. So, yeah.
So
Well,
it's not anything as specific. It's very much because it's a crypto
Yeah.
project.
it's largely for me as always. Oh, we lost Jack. Oh, he had to go. Okay. Um, it largely for me is like when Solana first came out, Quora, there was even a Solana store. I saw Solana close. I saw other things, right? And I asked myself, I said, how come I don't see the Bitcoin store? I don't see the Bitcoin um t-shirt. I mean, there are Bitcoin t-shirts, but there's not a store per se. It's not, Solana, and there's all of this stuff in the Solana store. I saw this in New York City and I said, then this is strange, man. This is something different. And since then, Solana has had this track record of these products and different things, and um I just think it's you don't if you're going to start comparing it to Bitcoin, I think that you won't see any comparison. If you just think of it as a company, like Wes says on Clubhouse, then I think you're safe. But but I would ask yourself, why do you need it? Why do I need a Solana phone? It means that I have to live in a Solana ecosystem almost exclusively. Now, it's a very smart idea for their payment system, right? You pay everything in Solana. You stay in their ecosystem. Hey, you don't pay the bill, they take it right out of your wallet on the phone. But it doesn't give you any autonomy. So it doesn't give you any autonomy, which I think is just a very um, dangerous thing in my view. I mean, to be fair, I actually was looking for the phone to really test it to see what it was all about, but it sold out. So obviously people found value in it. So, but I'm one of those people that test things just to test things. So, anyway.
So everything is related to Solana, and you just said you tested it, right?
I wanted to, but I couldn't. You cannot buy it anymore. It's not available. It's sold out completely, completely sold out. Nope.
You think it increased in price because of that?
Yeah, but I mean, look, markets can be irrational for much longer than humans can endure, okay? Don't forget that. If one day we are out of touch, just remember I said that. That's life advice. Markets can be irrational for much, much, much longer. I don't know what the value of the Solana phone is. I don't know. So maybe Boof sees some value in it. I mean, I think there is a big theme. You've heard me say this in blockchain projects. An ecosystem, you need to keep an ecosystem, but Solana is a strange one, man. It's a strange one. Strange. So, um, that's all I got to say about that. Maybe Boof has something more to say.
He doesn't seem to like it.
No, Boof has never liked
No,
Solana at all.
no. I must say one thing that Solana has, which is very surprising to me, and like Marco said, like markets can remain insane longer than they can you sustain that financially speaking. So we saw that with the Big Short. What was Michael Burry was a bit too soon, and I would say one more year, and he would be wrong, and he would have lost, right? So luckily, the market didn't remain insane for much longer, and I think the Solana community is just, to my view, to an extent, almost insane because no matter what happens to Solana, either they're insane or they know something that I do not know. Because Solana crashes and it doesn't do a dent to the price nor to the community. There's two communities that I have to say profound respect for them: Solana and XRP.
Yeah, I knew XRP was the other one. Yeah,
It's
you were
like
not expecting that with that.
there's a lot of insanity, man. But like I said, it's either insanity or we are missing something. The same way I was missing something with BTC.
Mm-hmm.
But I do in terms of, Bitcoin building and applications and using, I would say blockchain and businesses. Solana really is a very good role model for me in terms of how they do things, right? And Boof is right. They are very, 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 very interesting. And one thing, the Phantom wallet that Solana uses, that's for Solana, they have introduced some things that I think are quite innovative. We were talking about Sui yesterday, and I think that wallet you're going to start seeing lots and lots of things that will make things more convenient. But remember, convenience comes at a cost. So you should just think about segregating things a lot. That could actually be interesting. So stay tuned. But they do have a ton of innovation, ton of information. So innovation. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Something that I wanted to ask you guys that I was not able to catch on Clubhouse today is about Andrew Tate. And I saw that you were talking about that, but I didn't really hear the opinions. So I was wondering your views.
You want Boost view or my view first?
I think yours,
Both.
Marcus. Go ahead, Marcus.
Okay. Look, Andrew Tate has filled a void in a world where people are looking for masculine role models, examples, right? He is the one that has, I would say, nobody has introduced the red pill quite the way Andrew Tate has. He is the originator of that red pill concept, in my opinion. Look, I have a lot of admiration for him in from some various aspects, right? Like I don't think he's a compromising guy. So I really do have that respect, and we will just go from there. I was bringing up Andrew Tate because there are societies, Brazil's one of them, where it's a kind of a birthright. And in the UK, I don't know. I wanted to know how the UK viewed Andrew Tate as an insider or outsider, because he is from, I think, the Midwest United States, but he has one parent that's British. But he is a very, very interesting guy in that he's kind of lived this global footprint. He's really been uncompromising, he and his brother. So that's what I was bringing up. So I do have respect for him. Not everything, but I don't have that for any. We all are individuals. So there are things about him that hey, maybe I say I wouldn't do, but that's fine. But I do have some real respect for him. So I hope he's successful. I hope he's successful in what he does.
Yeah, I have a similar view as Marcus. I think he's filling a void that is extremely, in my view, extremely necessary to be filled. We live in a world of, like the book of Exodus, right, in the Bible, where the Pharaoh wants to conquer the Hebrew people, the Jewish people. And what the Pharaoh does is order the killing of every man. Why is that? Because a society without men is very easy to be conquered. And to my view, could be wrong, I don't mean to upset anyone, but in my view, we are in a time and space where we are killing men. Masculinity is not seen as something positive. We're killing all men. And yeah, we're killing every male son, which is the killing of masculinity in men. Now, amazingly, in the Bible, the wisdom is that women have to do that. The women are the one who is ordered to kill men. And we see that here today in the world. Women are the ones carrying the flag that is against masculinity. And to me, if there's an invasion, there's a conflict, there's a war in the world of geopolitics, you can only keep what you can defend. If you can't defend, it's not yours. We saw this with Tibet. Great spiritual leader, Dalai Lama, but where's Tibet now? Where is Dalai Lama? You can't defend, it's not yours. That's the rule of geopolitics. So to me, if I want to invade a town or a country or a state or anything, I'm not afraid of women. In any conflict, I'm very likely to outperform the woman. I'm not afraid of children. Which children can stop me and a troop of men that's invading that place? The only one that threatens me is men. And when I talk about men, I'm talking about men like Andrew Tate. Soft men doesn't scare anyone. So to me, he's filling a void, and the world is seeing this, the diminishing of masculinity in the world. And there are problems that come with that. There may be some great benefits, but there's also some problems. And I think Andrew Tate is filling that gap. Look at Donald Trump. Why he got elected? He represents a strong masculine leader. And what better way to represent that than to being shot on the head and a few seconds later, get up and fight. That symbol of a man, that's masculinity. Shoot me, do whatever you want. I'll continue fighting. They tried to kill him 3 times. and the 3 times the same reaction. That is what got him like strongly elected. The world is desperate for that kind of masculinity. I'm talking about toxic masculinity. I'm talking about like beating up people. I'm talking about like strong leadership that you can feel safe behind, you know? And in my view, he may get elected because everything he says about the UK, it is true. It is going down the drain. It is going down the drain. I live in Portugal because I never have to remove the key from my car, and I don't have to remove the key from my motorcycle. I'm never looking for my motorcycle keys or my car keys or whatever. It's like, no. The key is always there. It's parked there, don't need to remove. So motorcycle, car, like I don't need to lock my door. I travel, my door is open, it's unlocked. In the UK, you cannot do that. In the US, you cannot do that. Many places in the world, you cannot do that. So
I was thinking that some time ago, and even in this presentation, you feel that there is like a rise of socialism, right? Or like nationalism. But at the same
yeah,
time, this like figures that seem extremists for some people, or that they also are businessmen like Elon Musk and Trump, and now Andrew Tate. Even I could put there also Milei. He was not super famous, but I mean there is also some like rise of unexpected
yeah,
right wing, and I don't know if right wing,
yeah,
but so, and also like trying to push back to traditional ways and things like that. Those two things together that I find interesting.
yeah. There's gonna always be a balance. You cannot go one spectrum without going to the other one. Like the more you push in one direction, the more it's gonna be pushed the other direction. And I think honestly, this election of 2024 with the victory of Donald Trump, to my view, it shows how tradition prevails. Traditional values do prevail. No matter what you do, everyone is liberal. Everyone is open-minded to everything until they have a child. The day you have a child, you're like, oops. And I make this experiment, you know, with a lot of people. A lot of women, oh, I want to dress like this. I want to say, look at yourself in the mirror and forget that you are you and pretend that that's your daughter at the age of 16. Would still wear the same thing. Once you start to put the hat of a parent, you become conservative. Because conservative values presents a better world to your child. This liberal world where woman is man, man is woman, we do not know what is what. You know, like the guy said another day, you go to the doctor and say, doctor, I don't like my finger. Can you please just take this little bit off? No doctor will do it. And I'm a 50-year-old man. I cannot get a doctor to say, okay, we're gonna take off your finger because I cannot go to the doctor who's identified as an animal that has only 4 fingers. Remove one from me. The doctor's not gonna do it. Now, 16-year-old goes there and say, listen, take that down. And if my father doesn't like, put him in jail. This is nonsense. This is just nonsense. No parent can agree to that. This is when the left has gone too far. In my view, it's just gone too far. You start to mess with people's kids, you get in trouble very quickly.
Yeah, that makes sense. I also had this idea of like usually people that could be pretty good presidents or leaders, they don't want, or maybe I was wrong in that view, you know, like they are not really willing to be there. You know what I mean? And they are usually like that was like my view, like someone that wants to be the president usually or either have bad intentions or is not good for is not good enough for that, and people that could be good, they are not willing to be in that position. But I don't know. I mean, Andrew Tate seems pretty controversial.
But you're not wrong, Cora. You're not wrong. What we're seeing now with Donald Trump and Andrew Tate that I find beautiful, because those people want to be there because they want the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we see with Donald Trump, he's not going to compromise. For better or worse, right or wrong, he's not going to compromise. Why? He can sponsor himself, and he can get a alliance that can sponsor him. Like Elon Musk can put all my money into you. That is the type of leader you want. You know where his money is coming from. Andrew Tate, he doesn't need money for his campaign. He can, when you don't need funds from somebody else, you can push your own agenda because you don't need to compromise. You owe money to nobody. The problem is when you do not know who is paying who, and then you get into power and you have all this debt to cover, then you have to compromise. We need more leaders who can sponsor their own way into power. Because then it's their money into the game. It's not somebody else's money. It's easy. Everybody's socialist with somebody else's money. Everybody. I meet people here. Oh, I make €1,000 per. I only make €1,000 per month. You're on the top 15% of the population. Give half of your salary to African people. They don't want to. They want to be socialists with somebody else's money, never with their money. Yeah, I have to go too, guys. We are over the hour. I appreciate you all. Thank you, Ross, for being here. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you, Lali. Thank you, Carl, Coda, Marcus, and Jackie, who already left. Appreciate you all, guys.
Thank you
you.
both. Yeah, thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to
Thank
you
you, guys.
too.